Streaking community. Today we have with us Kathleen Kosel, who is a stay-at-home mom of two, a former high school English teacher. She lives in Indiana with her boys. And Kathleen also loves crocheting, which leads us right into how Kathleen found streaking. Kathleen, thanks for being with us today. And can you tell us that story?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So I have a really unique way that I found streaking. So I love to crochet, and I've crocheted for over 15 years now. My mom taught me in like 5th grade, I think. Several years ago, I found a crochet blog called Daisy Farm Crafts, and now I understand is Jeffrey's sister, Tiffany. And they had a couple of years ago put out a book of 25 baby blanket crochet patterns, and I decided to crochet through all 25 of them. It took me a year and a half and a lot of dedicated hours, but I finished at the end of April this year.
Oh, nice.
And it kind of like blew up in the crochet community. I think in the Daisy Farm Crafts Facebook group, it had something like 1,500 likes or something like that.
I love that. So you sharing about finishing that up.
Yeah, I shared a picture of me with like the entire stack of 25 blankets, and it was really impressive because it's just awesome. So many.
Yeah.
And so they decided that they were going to send me their newest book that just came out for free as a gift for crocheting through their book. And then they decided to turn that into a sanctioned challenge. They said, if anybody wants to crochet through all 25 of these blankets, we'll give you a free copy of our book. And one of the things they did to kickstart this challenge was Tiffany teamed up with Jeffrey, and they offered 25 copies of the streaking book as a giveaway. And I always love free things, and I love to read, so I signed up for the giveaway. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm the whole reason behind this. Somebody send me a streaking book.
So good.
And I won one of the copies, and was just, the concept intrigued me. I was like, okay, it's cool, free books, it sounds interesting. And the idea was that they're like, if you create a streak to crochet through the blankets, the consistency would help you get through the task. So I got the book, and I was instantly sucked into it. I think I tore through the whole book in like 2.5, 3 days. And it was just instantly, I was like, this is what I've been missing, because I like habits. I like routines and structures. Being a teacher, we have to have those kinds of things in place. And I've read habit books about, some of the more trendy ones right now, and nothing sticks, because like streaking talks about, like, there's habits, but there's things we want to do that are never going to become automatic. I'm never going to accidentally put on my shoes and go run a mile, be like, oh yeah, that's a habit now. And so streaking was the sweet spot. And so I read that book and was like, this is what I've been missing. So I got the app really fast and went against, the recommendation to only start with like one streak and get that going for 100 days. I was like, nope, we're doing a bunch of streaks right now. I already know this is going to work for me.
Nice. So tell me about what you started.
Yeah, I did decide that I was going to start with streaks that were already things that I was doing like mostly consistently in my life. But maybe I wasn't keeping track of. So I started with the basics, like making my bed, because that pretty much happens every morning. I also have a habit that's now a streak of getting dressed all the way to my shoes every single morning. So we get fully dressed, and when you put on your shoes, it sends signals to your body that you're ready to start the day and get going. So that's a streak now. And so those were kind of the basic ones that I started with. And then I started branching out into more of the things that I've always wanted to be consistent with, but struggled to develop as a habit.
Right. So I love that idea. And really that's advice I give a lot of people too, when they're just starting, is start with something you're already doing.
Yeah.
And then keep track of it and feel what it feels like to intentionally be consistent in that thing and then move forward from there. I think that's so,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So tell us more about what are some of your favorite streaks?
I have two that are probably my favorite ones to tackle each day. One of them is called my artist list streak. So I have a lot of hobbies, from photography to crochet to playing the violin to like, I've got a lot of hobbies. I love baking, I love cooking. But to make a streak for every single one of those hobbies would get
A lot.
overwhelming very fast. Even if I set it as like a once a month or once a week sort of thing, it that I felt like would still be lower than what I wanted it to be, but to do every streak would be too much. So what I did is I have a note in my phone that's got a whole bunch of fake streaks essentially. And then what I do is I pick one of those from that list each day. So it's things like crochet 2 rows of a project, play 1 scale on the violin, cook something just for fun, edit 1 photo in Lightroom, listen to 5 minutes of a podcast. And so every day I pick one of those things to do. A lot of days it ends up being crochet. And so it's a good way to feed my creative side consistently, but without the pressure of feeling like I have to do everything or have to overcommit to it. And then my other favorite one right now still falls into the creative side. I picked up guitar about 2 weeks ago.
Ooh,
My dad and both my brothers have played for years and years and years. And I've always like dabbled in it, but the last couple months I've thought, oh, it would be fun to learn some guitar to like play songs with my kids or help with the praise team at church or something like that. And so I borrowed a guitar from my dad. And so I have a streak to pick up the guitar every day. That's it. I just have to pick it up.
yeah.
And it's fun. So I'll just like mess around with some chords and I'll ask my boys, I'm like, Levi, what do you want to hear? And he'll pick some, he wants me to play ABCs. So I find some chords for ABCs. And
Yes.
so it's kind of become like a family activity. Mom's picking up the guitar.
Right. We're all joining in. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so great. I love your artist list. Like, I think,
It's an inspiration.
right. I think as moms, it's easy to lose that part of us when we start having kids, especially when your kids are little, like yours are, that
Yeah.
it's easy to just spend all our time focused on that.
Yes.
So I love that you took the things that you like to do, and rather than being like, okay, I'm going to focus on each and every one, you gave yourself that openness to do a little bit of all of it. And I think that's so great. So great. Okay, I've loved one of your posts. You asked about side effects of streaking. Will you talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit more about that? Because this is something I've seen in my own streaking journey, kind of these
Right.
unintentional side effects that come from it. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. So for me, I've got probably close to 24 streaks right now.
Okay.
And I think my biggest one is just over 100. And then I've got some like guitar has only been like 2 weeks. I got some real baby streaks going. But then there's people like you just hit the 1,000 mark, right?
Oh, that was so exciting.
I know I commented, I'm like, I can only dream of that right now, but like that is just so stinking cool. So I like to tackle as many streaks as I can before my boys get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I usually wake up an hour before they're up. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was like tackling my streaks and suddenly it was 7 o'clock and I'm like, there's just not enough time to get ready for the day. And so I realized, I'm like, you know what? If I like, there's a high off of like checking those streaks off.
You're right.
And I wanted to be at a point where I could like maximize that feeling to start my day, because I was noticing like how much it helped to be like, I've already done all of this and my kids aren't even awake. So I've actually started waking up half an hour earlier at 5:30 just so I can get more streaks done. But it's so nice because by the time 7 o'clock hits, I've already checked the laundry room, cleaned the bathroom, read my Bible in the morning, journaled something, read 2 pages of a book. Like, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
All that's already been done and my kids aren't even awake. So then I get to wake up or I get to go and get them out of their rooms and be like, I'm here for you. Like, let's go enjoy our time together. Yesterday, after they woke up from their naps, I saw a Facebook post that one of our local bakeries was having a buy one, get one sale. And I feel like before streaking, that's something I would have been like, oh, that's nice, but I've got to fold laundry and clean bathrooms, and I haven't done this yet, and I still need to figure, I haven't looked at my planner yet today. I don't know what we're having for dinner. But because everything had already been done, I probably only had like 2 streaks to check off by that time of the day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake the kids up. We're going to go to the bakery. We're going to get a bunch of treats. We ran through McDonald's and got a soda, and then we went to a park and ate cupcakes and played at the park, because I had already like accomplished so much with my day that I was able to go and have a really nice stress-free afternoon with my kids.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've said it before, like there isn't a single area of my life that streaking hasn't improved. Like, you name it and I can tell you a way that streaking's fixed it. It's really cool.
Thank you for sharing that. That's the ability to be more present because of streaking. I really like that. I'm going to be thinking more about that. I feel like too, that like when you're consistent, you're keeping promises to yourself.
Yeah.
There's a confidence that comes with that too, to be able to
Absolutely.
say like, yeah, I can do this, right? Because
right. Yeah.
Because I've done this already for however many days, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I even had a friend yesterday, I was posting on Instagram stories. I'm very active on my Instagram stories, just all the things I'm doing. And she messaged me yesterday, goes, how do you have time for all of this? And I told her, I'm like, you know what? Streaking has helped because everything's just at a baseline. I'm not saving I have a streak to check the laundry room every day. That's it. Like, I don't have to do a load of laundry. I just have to assess what's going on in my laundry room. So maybe there's a load still in the dryer that needs to get folded. Maybe the towels are starting to overflow and need to get put in the wash. But I check it every day. And so I'm always on top of laundry because the floor is down here. And I feel like, I think we put too much pressure on ourselves about being disciplined, when really if you break something down as simply as a streak does, staying disciplined isn't as big of a task as we make it out to be. So for me to stay on top, for me to check the laundry room takes 30 seconds if I'm going to put a load in the wash. And for me to look at my planner, you've done your planner for 1,000 days now, like, it doesn't take that long, and you get used to that muscle being moved to where for you, and I think, and for me to look at my planner takes a minute or 2.
Yeah.
And then all those tiny things add up, and suddenly you've got all this extra time because you've been putting the drops in the bucket.
Yes. Yes. I love how you said that. It's so true. Yeah.
I'm hitting you with a lot, I know.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect because I was just, because I 100% agree with you. But I think we've been sold a little bit of a lie, a lot of a lie, that if it's not big, it's not worth it. Right? You've got all the like, go big or go home, or make no small plans. And so then, we're like, if I'm not doing something huge, then it must not make a difference. And that is false. It's just not true.
Right. And I think the flip side of that too, that it's like, we think, you pair that with procrastination. Like, before, I used to only clean my bathrooms if they were like totally scummy and it was going to take me an hour to do each one.
Yeah. And then now, you hate it.
Right. And then because it took me so long to do it that time, I go, I don't want to do that again. And so then I put it off for another month. Whereas now I have a streak where I get a spray bottle and a rag, and I just spray everything. I wipe everything down, and I take a toilet brush and I go zoop in the toilet, and it takes me less than 2 minutes. And my bathrooms are never dirty anymore. Yes, we had the pastor's wife over this morning, and my bathroom was clean for the pastor's wife.
And you didn't have to get up early just to clean your bathroom for an hour.
There was no like crisis cleaning. There was no panic like, oh no, I gotta clean my bathroom. What if she needs to go to the bathroom? Like, it was taken care of.
Yeah.
But I think so often we think because we should only do things in big commitments, it also means that we give ourselves permission to procrastinate until something only becomes, we put off the laundry until we have 5 loads to do, instead of just doing like a wash and a dry one day and a fold and a put away the next day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're totally right. And yeah, our brains are like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And then until it becomes an emergency.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Small means I can start right now.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
Okay, Kathleen, when you tell your friends that you are streaking, what do you tell them? How do they react?
I had a funny moment on Sunday. So I have my newest streak actually is a weekly streak where I'm gonna get out for ideally a run, but I'm giving myself permission to walk if I need to, but to move for 1 mile twice a week. So Saturday night, I went and I ran for a mile, and my brother-in-law after church was talking to me about it. And he's like, good for, because I had texted the family. I was like, hey, I ran a mile. So then the next day he's like, good for you doing your mile. That's great. And like, thanks, the streaking has really helped. And he goes, what kind of mile is this? What kind of running are you doing? Like, he somehow had an idea that I was running a very different kind of mile.
That is so funny.
And so I laughed so hard at that, and he knew I wasn't talking about it, and so he was able to say it as a joke because he's got a quick wit like that. But it was a fun little moment, and so yeah, there's always this pause. The same way when I first saw the book on Daisy Farm, I'm like, sorry, what are they associating themselves with now? Maybe this isn't such a great idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everyone kind of pauses for a second, and I'm like, it's like a winning streak. Like, it is literally a winning streak, because every day you win just a little bit. And that's where they all go, oh, okay. And so, yeah, so my family knows all about it. My dad has the book right now. Awesome. He's got a huge stack of books to read, so hopefully he'll get to it. But even my mom was texting the other day, and she's like, I want to read your streaking book. I'm like, well, Dad has it, so get it from him. I want it back though, because it's autographed.
Right? You're like, come on.
So yeah, my family, I've been telling them all about it. I was posting about it on my Instagram stories the other day, and I actually had, I think, a couple of friends, I told them what my handle was, and so they followed me on the app, and I was like, hey, awesome. You're here. That's
so good.
Yeah, so that's been cool too. So yeah, it gives everyone pause, but then, you're like, it's a winning streak. It's the streak of doing something consistently, and everyone kind of goes, oh,
yeah,
because it's a totally different way to think about habits and the things that we want to commit to but have trouble staying on top of. And it's like when I explain it to people, you just watch the light bulbs turn on. They're like, oh, that's really cool. So so it's fun to see people jump on it. I'm hoping I get a few of my family members to commit to it with me.
Yeah,
it's fun.
That is so good. It's interesting. Like you said, it's something that kind of fills in the spot that's missing between habits and goals. And especially, I think we often think of a winning streak as like, we don't think about how much work goes into a winning streak, but also there's a little bit of like a sports team having a winning streak only until somebody beats them, right? But with a winning streak that you create, it could go on and on forever, right?
Yeah. That's something that I've been thinking about too, is like, I'm kind of naturally a competitive person. Like if I start a new hobby or if I start getting into something, like I instantly want to be like the best at it. And so I'll, over research and over perform because I'm like, I want to get up to this level. And it was kind of hitting me that like watching some of the streak counts that you guys have is really inspiring. And my competitive nature is like, oh, I want to be like them. But there's, the only way you can do it is by continuing to be consistent. Like I can't jump ahead in streaks. And so really, truly, the only competition is against yourself. And any, if you've missed a streak and had to start over, then the competition is to beat that streak. And I think that's what makes the community aspect of streaking so cool, is because there is zero competition, because we're all just ticking the box every day. And some of us have started later and some of us had started more recently, but we're all just there cheering on each other's numbers. And so there's zero competition, there's zero like one-upping each other, and it's only supportive, which is really magical as far as a social media platform goes.
Yeah, you are so right. Yeah, that is so good. And there's no way, like you said, there's no way to skip ahead. There's no way for you to do your streak 12 times in one day and somehow get up ahead. You just have to keep going. And I love that you said that about the community part of the app, because I agree with you. And it is very unique that you can't really compare yourself to other people because everybody's at a different spot. So we're all just cheering each other on. That's so good. Good. Okay, Kathleen, if you had any advice for someone who's looking to start streaking, what would you tell them?
My biggest things to say would be pick something that you're already doing consistently. If you're going to start with 2 streaks, pick something that you're already doing consistently and start keeping track of it. And then pick one streak that's maybe going to push you a little bit. Maybe it's something creative, maybe it's something in physical activity, but something that's maybe always been a goal for you or been something you want to make a habit, but you've never been able to get there. Start with like 2 streaks like that. Make them both daily streaks, because those numbers tick up way faster than you think they are.
Yes,
I look at some of the numbers on mine and I'm like, wait, I'm already in the 70s and 80s on this? I don't feel like it's been that long. Those numbers tick up fast. Whereas like the weekly ones tend to be smaller because you're talking about 7 days. And so the daily streaks happen fast. And then that builds a lot of confidence, is watching those numbers tick up. Like you start hitting those milestone numbers and you're like, holy cow, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
That's such good advice. That is, I hadn't thought about that. You're right. That is really good advice, because time passes so fast.
It does.
That, my husband started a streak that I want to do too. And I just have been like kind of dragging my feet on it. And I was looking at his streaks the other day and I was like, what? You're already at this many days of that streak? I should have started with you. Like I haven't.
Right. Yeah. And we were talking about some things to do on that app. That would also be kind of a cool feature, is to have like a pending streaks, or like a streak wish list or something. Cause I know I've got a handful that I'm like, at some point I would I want to do this. At some point I'll add that one on. So if there was like a section in the app where you could be like, here's a streaking wish list.
I like that.
Set aside. That would be a good feature.
Okay, Kathleen, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Is there anything else you would like to tell the streaking community before we end our interview?
I mean, it's so worth doing. There's not a single aspect of my life streaking hasn't changed, and it's worth trying. And the community is like, the community is a bit of a unicorn. I feel like so much of social media is bogged down with like posturing and filters and competition and whose life is better. And I feel like streaking just kind of has stripped all that away, and it's all of us just like trying to be better people, and cheering each other on. So to the streaking community, I would say thank you so much, because it has revolutionized so many things about my life and about myself. And for those who are looking to join, you're not going to find a better community. Seriously, it's the unicorn.
That is so great. And I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Thanks again for your time with us, Kathleen.
Oh, thank you so much.